Hi everyone, I'm Sublime Sims, also known as Soft Girl Gaming over on TikTok. Today I'm going to be showing you how to build a starter home in The Sims 4, and this is going to be very beginner friendly. I'm playing from a console, so I won't be using any mods or CC. Everything you're seeing is either going to be base game or from a pack. This is the house I'm going to be building, and I found this from Pinterest, so I tell everyone when they ask, go to Pinterest for your inspo pictures. It is so much easier to build when you have something to look to, and a lot of times they even include a floor plan. Let's go ahead and get started with the build. The first thing I'm going to do is, using that inspiration picture of course, is make the outside shape of my house. So I'm just going to try to get this as close as I can to the picture. If you don't get it kind of where you want on the lot the first time, just keep in mind you can always move the house. You can either move it by room like this, or if you look at the top where there's 4 arrows are, you can also move the entire house at once. So just kind of play around with it, see where you like it. It all depends on the size that you want your house to be and also how big you want the backyard to be or the front yard. Now I'm just going to be adding a porch. There's a button that says it, so again, very easy. I'm going to elevate the house. Be sure to use that middle arrow. If you use those up and down arrows, that is just going to create a platform. It's not actually going to elevate your house, it's just going to elevate the room. Now I'm just going to make a few adjustments. Again, for the outside at least, I want to get it pretty close to the original picture, but at the end of the day, this is just an inspiration pick. It does not have to be exact. Play around with it, make it your own. I'm moving on to roofing, and I feel like roofing is definitely, I guess, one of the harder things that you can do when you build. I tend to pick homes that have simple roofing designs because you really don't have to do anything super complex, and honestly, it will still look good. Of course, once you get more comfortable, you can always get more advanced builds in and more advanced roofing. I love to do this with my roof to make it look cohesive. I kind of put it into the first piece, and then I'm just going to drag it back and play around with the arrows until I get a seamless look. Also be sure to adjust the height of your roof. Obviously this one looks a little too tall for this house, and again, I want it to kind of go into that first piece I have. You'll see these 2 circles kind of on either side of the top arrow. If you play around with those, it will make your roof either more round or the opposite, kind of inverted. So if you're trying to do a round roof, that's what you're going to adjust. Now I'm just making a covering for the front porch on the house by adding another piece. I'm just trying to make it as flat as possible because again, I want this to look like the picture. You can also use those short arrows that I just used to kind of just affect the length of the roof. It's not necessarily going to make the piece any bigger. Now to make this a little more realistic and also like the picture, I'm going to add in a few columns. These are fairly easy to do. You can also put them up against the wall like that. Just be sure that if you're playing around with the roofing, you can make these pillars like taller so that you can't see the top of them. And now I'm opening up the porch so that we can add in our stairs. Be sure if you're elevating your house, don't forget to add stairs because your Sims cannot get in if you have the house too high. So I'm just going to put them all the way up against it and drag it out. Next, I'm going to find some railings that are going to look like the fence that I have. There we go. Now I've got my railing on and it's already starting to look better. Okay, so I'm fast forwarding just a bit, and now I've got my siding up, my front door, and a couple of windows. I just did this by looking again at the picture and picking the closest thing to it. It's now time for me to move on the inside, and if you didn't catch it a second ago, I just put bb.moveobjects on so that I can freely move items. That's going to help me when I'm decorating. Now this is the part that I really do not enjoy, which is making the floor plan. I don't know what it is, but like, I just hate doing floor plans. It's really hard for me for some reason. I love the decorating, but I hate the floor plan. So I'm going to play around with this a little bit. I just definitely want to have at least 2 bedrooms in this house, a little designated entryway, and then of course, bathroom, kitchen, and living room. After a lot of trial and error, this is the layout I've ended up with. So I have 2 bedrooms straight across from each other with a hallway, 1 large bathroom, where that little half wall is, that is going to be my kitchen. I'm just going to move it up a little bit, and then the area in front of it is going to be the living room. So this is what I'm working with. I think this is a great size for, again, a starter home, maybe with either a small family, a couple, or even a single sim. I really like to use archways to designate kind of a separation in the layout. So to me, this keeps it kind of open, but again, you have your living space and your kind of, I don't know, I guess like your sleeping space totally separate. After a few minutes, this is kind of what I ended up with for my living room. I feel like decorating, honestly, there is no real tutorial on this. Like, it's just your personal style or the style that you're going for a particular sim. A lot of times I will also refer to Pinterest if I'm not using just my normal style that I feel like is my personality for inspiration, especially if I'm trying to achieve a specific look. A lot of times I also start and stop like 30 times, start over. There's nothing wrong with that. It's totally fine, no matter how long you've been building. Like this room, I think I kept the furniture for, but I ended up changing like the flooring and the walls. Also be careful when you have move objects on. This will happen a lot with the windows and the curtains. It's very annoying, but sometimes you have to do it backwards. Put your curtains up first and then put your window back. I'm now moving on to my kitchen area. I wanted this to be mostly open, but still, again, I like to have like separation in my floor plans. I'm not a huge fan of having it completely open. Now, if you see that wood going across at the top where I've got my columns, that is a spandrel. You'll need to have like either columns or a wall, but you need to have like a designated start and stop for that to work properly. Now I'm just going in to finish setting up the kitchen. One thing I really like to do sometimes is use shelving instead of the traditional cabinets, just depending on the kitchen, especially if I've got something like this where I have a window right in the middle. So I'm just going to be using some shelving as an alternative, and you can clutter those up as much as you like. For myself, I am a little bit more minimal, so I don't tend to use a ton of clutter in any room. But I do like to put things like the little decorative cups and plates. I know there's even like a jar of olives and a few other things. If you use this one from Jungle Adventure, it even already has a few items on there. So this is what I ended up going with. This kitchen's also going to have the dining in the kitchen because I didn't have enough space to do a designated dining area, and I also didn't want to make this house any bigger. Now, before I forget, I do need to add in a back door just because technically, no, you don't have to have this, but it's a lot more convenient if you have a back exit, especially if you plan on having a yard of any sort, because you don't want your Sims to have to go all the way to the front just to go to the back. So I'm adding this glass sliding door, and then don't forget again, you're going to need to add some stairs so that your Sims can get out. I'm also going to be adding a back porch just like what's on the front, so you're going to use the same tool. You can make this as big or small as you want. You also technically don't have to have a porch. You can just put stairs if that's what you prefer. Another pro tip, you can also just copy rooms and items so that you don't have to keep finding things over and over. Now, if you want to do something different, then obviously don't do this. But for me, I want to keep the same style as what I have going on in the front. So I just copied it and moved it right on over. Now that I've got the back entry set up, I'm just getting my dining area squared away. This was a little difficult, I'm not going to lie, just because this is a small area to work with and still have it be fully functional. But I finally picked where I wanted it, and I always love to just put a little plant on the table just so that it's not so plain. And this is what I have so far. I'm still going to play around with it a little bit more, but I think that this might end up being where it stays, just so that there's plenty of room to get outside. You have room to get to the stove, sink, everything. But I'm liking this house so far. It's just getting me very warm and cozy vibes. If you know anything about me and have seen my other videos, whether it's here or on TikTok, I just love the warm, cozy feels, and that's kind of what I'm trying to go for in this house. And sure enough, just like I mentioned, I did all that moving around just to put it back where it was. So I'm throwing this rug in again just to give it a little more like homey feel and a little bit of warmth, because I wasn't liking the rug by the sink. I don't know, it just wasn't working for me. Now I'm going to change the trim on this half wall to match the beams and be a little bit closer to the countertops. I'm also changing this just to give it kind of the same effect. But I am liking how this house is turning out so far. I feel like this is going to be really cute for whatever sim I'm putting in here. I do also want to point out, if I'm building just to build and it's not for a particular sim, I don't like to add too much, like, I guess, personality specific items. Like, I like to wait until I see who's going to move in. So I won't put a whole lot on the walls. I won't put a whole lot of clutter or like activity items, skill building items, unless it's just a generic room, because I want it to fit whatever sim or sims are going to be living here. That is just me. You obviously don't have to do that, but because I upload a lot to the gallery, I try to keep it as like kind of neutral as possible. After changing my mind like 100 times on this bathroom, this is what I ended up with for the walls and the floor. I'm moving to the bedroom because I don't like doing bathrooms. They're very boring to me, so I'm going to come back to it. But for now, I'm just going to put together this gender neutral bedroom. I decided to just go with this light wood and yellow combo because I just think yellow looks really cute in this house. It's very simple, and again, it's not too specific to anyone's sim. I literally love these little sunflowers, and it's definitely going with my yellow theme. So I'm going to throw a couple of furniture pieces in here and then move on. So at this point, I'm now adding the final touches for this bedroom. I'm just putting a little wall art on. This is one of the things I really love having move objects on for, because you can freely place them. That is how I finished off that bedroom. Now for this back bedroom, I decided to leave this empty just because I didn't know if I wanted it to actually be a bedroom or if I want that to be an office, a skills room. It really could be anything. I don't know who's going to live here yet, so I'm just going to leave it empty until I know who's going to live here. I do want to add a little workspace right here though, just in case I don't make that an office. So I'm just putting this little desk here. I'm going to obviously be putting a chair and moving it all the way against the wall. But I love doing this when I kind of have like just dead space at the end of a hallway, especially if it's a smaller house, because again, I don't like clutter. So this is a good way to make some extra space actually functional. So I'm going to add a few items here, of course, the home computer, and we're going to put a little bit of shelving in this hallway. Again, nothing too crazy. I want it to stay pretty open and minimal. I also think for beginners, minimalism is really the route to go until you get more comfortable, and especially if you don't have a lot of packs, like it's just very easy to make a space look good without using a bunch of items, I feel like. But go with whatever style you love. This is just my recommendation if you're just starting out, especially if you feel like you don't really know how to decorate or you don't have a specific style that you like. Now I'm just adding a few final touches on the inside. Unfortunately, some of my clips did not save, so this is where I'm going to be kind of wrapping up the tutorial. But this is how the house turned out at the end. I think it came out really cute. Again, this is just a starter home, nothing crazy. For the landscaping you're seeing in the front, all I do is pick a few random trees, a few random hedges, throw them in the front, whatever you think looks good. And then for the pathway in front of my stairs, I used the paint under terrain tools and used one of the stone pathways. You can also just place actual flooring if there's a different pattern you like, but that's the one that I thought looks good. And then another little tip before I wrap up, for the landscaping, I always love to insert a few lights in the bushes and things so that at night you get this effect where the house looks very well lit. It's very cute. And yeah, I hope this was helpful for you guys. I mainly wanted to show you guys the building portion and just a little bit of decorating. But let me know if you want to see more of these. Let me know if there is something specific that you don't know how to do that you need help with, or I don't know, even just tips for console. I do want to get into doing tutorials a little bit more. So again, just let me know what you guys want to see and I'm more than happy to do it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and please like and subscribe if you like this video. Thanks for watching.